Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We now officially have the mid-season update live in Warzone for Season 5. This is the whole Season 5 Reloaded update, the 1.42 update, I believe it's going to be, and it includes quite a bit. Obviously, we've got some new content. We've sort of previewed that over the last couple of days. We've got even more content coming over the course of the next few weeks as well. And per usual, we've also got some back-end changes and some other patch notes to go over in addition to everything else. So as we go over it all in this video, if you enjoyed at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. Would be seriously appreciated. Let's aim for 3,500 likes on this one. And of course, if you're new to the channel, or if you happen to be a part of the 54% of viewers who have not already subscribed, I am always covering absolutely everything going on in COD. News, intel, updates, loadouts, tips, it is all right here. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. All right, so we've got our Season 5 Reloaded patch notes. For whatever reason, Raven decided to put them out on Twitter, and they don't have a link for their actual site yet, so we just have to go through all their various tweets talking about what's going on here. But for starters, they say included in Season 5 Reloaded your playlist for the next 4 weeks. So we've got quite a bit to cover here, actually. Starting on the 9th, we're going to have BR solos, duos, trios, quads, and the new mode Clash. Also, Rebirth, Island Resurgence, trios, and quads. On the 16th, they're doing BR solos, trios, and quads. Iron Trials duos, Blood Money quads, and Clash, and then Rebirth Resurgence quads as well. On the week of the 23rd, we're getting solos, duos, quads, trios, normal BR, Iron Trial duos, Rebirth Resurgence quads, and what else? We'll let you choose from a few options. Keep an eye on our Twitter for updates. Then on the 30th, BR duos, trios, quads, buyback solos, plunder trios, and Rebirth Resurgence Extreme returning on the week of the 30th as well, which is going to be pretty cool. They also talk about the whole numbers event. Things are getting weird. Seek out the mobile broadcast stations to earn some rewards. There's a limited time event. This is starting on the 21st, so it's not going to be live for like another 2.5 weeks. Those brave enough to investigate the mobile broadcast stations scattered across Verdansk will receive the following incentives: an instant $5,000 cash bonus in the current match. For each unique mobile station you actually go and activate, you're going to receive an exclusive reward such as a sticker, a calling card, a charm, or some XP. Complete all the challenges in either Warzone or Cold War and you'll unlock the Psy melee weapon. This event includes a set of 9 challenges for Warzone and Cold War. We talked about that earlier. Pretty much like your standard seasonal event. The mobile broadcast stations, of course, have been added to the map. We've seen these in various areas, but now they'll actually be activated starting on the 21st. We also have 2 new modes coming. We've got Clash, which is now available, and of course Iron Trials as well. Clash is like the whole quads TDM basically. It's like 50 versus 50, but it's TDM essentially. So you're playing with your quad, it'll be first to 200 points there. You can use the loadouts, you can get camos, challenges, all sorts of cool stuff like that. Then we have Iron Trials. We talked about this a bit earlier on in the week. This is basically a change to regular BR to make it a bit more extreme. Health is changed, regen is changed. There's no free loadouts, you can only buy them. If you win in the gulag, you get those weapons when you come back in. They've adjusted the environmental hazards, and there's different classified weapons. Dead silence and stopping power are no longer in the game. Snipers can only one-shot headshot within 30 meters, and it's ATVs and dirt bikes only. And if you win, you get this exclusive calling card. Definitely some very interesting changes there. I'm really excited to try that out when it comes in season. We also have an undeciphered intel cache. Operators now investigate. They just put question marks. I don't know if this means that Dark Ether is coming or not. We're going to have to see when the update actually goes live, but they're teasing something happening with these, secret images that we got. We covered this earlier on in the week as well, but it's just question marks. They didn't say specifically what was going on, so unfortunately that's going to be a wait and see sort of update. We also have a ton of bug fixes. They fixed an issue causing player models to appear to have 2 left hands, an issue with collision and various elements in the map where you can basically shoot dead bullets into a wall that's not actually there. Various elements across Verdansk and Rebirth that allowed loadout drops to fall through them. An issue causing players to not receive the squad wipe notification. An issue causing players to remain stuck in the blank tablet screen when using the RCXD. An issue with audio for certain finishing moves not playing. An issue causing thermite damage to persist upon redeployment after exiting the gulag. An issue where the bounty contract would display placeholder text. An issue where a squad wipe would not count if the last enemy was holding a self-res. An issue where players could regenerate armor plates while using tempered. An issue where revive and self-revive times were incorrect in private matches. An issue where some calling cards were displaying placeholder text. An issue where trying to customize reticles would send players back to the main menu. I think that was primarily Mw Mp5. An issue with blueprint labeling being incorrect. The reticle alignment on the Roman standard blueprint has finally been fixed. It's been so long that it's been busted. They fixed scaling on the Swiss Diamond camo, and also various inspect animations on blueprints not working correctly. Like we talked about, the Psy melee is coming as a part of the event, so that'll be available for anyone looking to get some melee stuff. And then we get to the meat and potatoes. the weapon tuning. There's a lot. They sort of preview it here. The C58's nerfed. The EM2 got some buffs and some nerfs. The FAL is getting nerfed. The Mw Mp5 is getting nerfed yet again. The Groz is getting buffed. Krig is getting nerfed. The Stoner is getting nerfed. OTS is nerfed. Black Ops Cold War AUG buff, DMR buff, Type 63 nerf, PPSH buff, and nerf. While assessing the power level of Cold War weapons, we have observed some disparities between ease of use and efficiency. The Krig has shown impressive performance at just about every engagement type. While we believe it's important to have a wide array of weapons that can be utilized by all players of all skills, it is critical to the health of the game that their effectiveness scales appropriately with the skill required to wield them. Of course, the Krig is like a no-brain weapon. It takes nothing to use. It's just a laser beam. And halfway through reading the patch notes, they ended up putting out the actual patch notes page. So now we can go through and read everything in full. Where were we? They were talking about how the Krig is too easy to use. If players can be effective with a weapon that is pinpoint accurate, that also has a really good TTK, why choose another? Exactly what we've been saying for so long. As we continue to adjust these weapons, we'll also be making adjustments to Cold War attachments that offer recoil control. We feel these changes will provide a fairer, more diverse long-range landscape. You'll love to see it. C58. The recoil has been adjusted yet again. High damage weapons like the C58 tend to adhere to a lower rate of fire and higher recoil, which generally balances out their hasty TTK. Much like the Krig, the C58 was a tad easier to control than we feel is appropriate for its damage. While recoil adjusting can be rather nebulous, the exact details of these changes can often be difficult to quantify with numbers alone. While the C58's recoil has been slightly increased, the majority of this change will be felt in the recoil pattern deviation. So it'll go, more in between a bullet. There'll be more space in between each bullet. It'll go higher to go more left to right. Basically, they're changing the recoil pattern there. On the EM2, the base eye optic was actually retracted. The position was retracted. It was not receiving a direct reduction to its efficiency with this change. However, it'll result in the base optic being a less suitable substitute for higher magnification optics. Basically, it'll be less viable, less usable in long-range situations. The FAL, Assault Rifle Bravo, I believe this is. The upper torso multiplier was decreased from 1.1 to 1. Basically going to be nerfing the FAL shots to the body. That's actually a pretty significant nerf. That extremely low TTK is going to be locked behind an additional headshot now, and changes like these align it more closely with their goal to constantly shift the TTK outside of that 300 millisecond range. So basically, the MW FAL is worse than it was before. It's not going to kill nearly as fast. The Groza, they increased the sprint to fire speed by 15%. I still don't think that's going to be worth using over some of the Cold War subs right now. So while it got a buff, that's cool. I don't think that's super, dominating by any means at this point. The Krig, the maximum damage was decreased by 1 yet again. The mid-range damage is now 25. The minimum damage was decreased from 25 to 23, and the weapon kick was adjusted. So all good nerfs in my opinion. They made the recoil worse with the weapon kick, and they lowered the damage. Really, I don't see a reason to use the Krig. We already talked about this earlier with the Farah. Now it's even more so the case. If you want to use the Krig because it's easy to use and you're comfortable with it, drop it now. It's not going to hit hard. Switch to the Farah like we talked about earlier on this week. Hey, predicting another meta out here. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be the new version of the Krig. Slightly more recoil, but it's great TTK. With these nerfs, I don't see the Krig being that dominant anymore. I wouldn't recommend using it by any means. The Stoner, they increased the recoil slightly. That's not going to be too much because you can still just learn that pattern and get through that. Its damage is still going to be nuts, especially with the task force and the match grade, which seems what they sort of focused on here. But the Stoner is still going to be a beast, but obviously very heavy and very slow. For Attack Rifle Charlie, this is going to be the AUG. They reduced the recoil, or they decreased the recoil. Its damage still isn't that incredible, but it's going to be slightly easier to use. I don't see that being a major buff to it, though. On the DMR, they adjusted the recoil rather than outright decrease. This is more of a rework. The DMR has languished since its changes in Season 1, when it got severely nerfed. Expect the DMR to feel like a new weapon. Semi-auto weapon enthusiasts rejoice. It's going to feel different. That's basically all they say here, so not too much information, but hey, it's something different. It'll be worth trying out. The M16, the weapon kick was decreased, so kind of like the whole Krig situation, but reversed. The Krig got its kick increased, so it's going to kick more and be more obnoxious. The M16 will be easier, but in all reality, burst weapons are pretty easy to control. The Type 63, the headshot multiplier was decreased. The neck multiplier was increased. The upper torso multiplier and the lower torso multiplier were both decreased, and the weapon kick was decreased, so it'll be easier to use, but it's not going to hit as hard to the head or to the torsos. The neck will still be pretty solid though, but it's going to be hard to consistently land those shots. Pause. Before we get to the SMGs, we have to scroll back up. I was just informed if you click this, there's a hyperlink. It's Dark Ether. It's 100% Dark Ether. You can't really see it there because it's grayed out, but you can click the hyperlink on that question mark. This is 110% Dark Ether confirmed. It's coming to Warzone finally. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled weapon tuning. Where were we? We were at the SMGs, SMG Charlie, the Mw Mp5, the maximum damage was decreased from 34 to 31. This change mirrors the adjustment to the base MP5 that was made earlier this season. Nothing too crazy there, but that's just with the 10 mil rounds. So the 10 mil rounds aren't going to be the wave anymore. I didn't think they were that good to begin with, even though it was good for solos, not super viable. So that's going to be nerfed now. Go back to the 45 for all modes. The OTS got its maximum damage range decreased by 6.2%, but to be honest, its maximum damage was not all that great to begin with. It had some pretty severe drop-offs. I still think this will be the go-to up close, though. I love the OTS. I've been loving the OTS for a while now. Its damage up close is insane. I'm surprised they didn't nerf its damage physically, just the range here that got adjusted. So I would expect this to get nerfed again in the future, but for now, it's not going to be as good for ranged engagements or even outside of that 10-meter mark, but for close range, it's still going to be a beast. For the PPSH, the weapon kick was adjusted. The ADS sway was also adjusted here. So while firing the PPSH, the weapon could kick in a manner that would make it difficult to gauge bullet directionality. This is a subtle change, though, have a significant impact on the ability to reliably line up shots. Great news. On the Swiss, they adjusted the recoil. We expect this change to go largely unnoticed, though, because it's not going to have a major impact on its feel because Sniper's recoil really is not all that big. On the ZRG, the recoil was also adjusted, much like the Swiss. It's received some changes to its firing recoil behavior that looks, sounds, and most importantly feels like the baddest sniper rifle in Verdansk. So it'll be easier to line up shots, I guess. They also made several attachment changes here for the barrels on the assault rifles. Ranger, Liberator, and GRU Composite, the vertical recoil control was decreased by 2%. For reinforced heavy, VDV reinforced and contour, all the vertical and horizontal recoil control was reduced by 1%. On the takedown and contour M2, the horizontal control was decreased by 2%. And for Task Force, Spetsnaz, RPK, Mil-Spec, all that, both recoils were reduced by 2% as well. On LMGs, match grade, recoil reduced by 1% all around, 2% for Task Force. As we settle on the proper magnitude of recoil control for these barrels, we expect this to impact weapons individually and differently. Weapons that more heavily rely on recoil control they received from these barrels will need to be adjusted independently to ensure they align with our weapon mastery goals. So you're just going to have to test out these weapons and see if they feel that much different when using these barrels. But 1%, 2% for most players is not going to be all that much. For the DMR, the titanium barrel, the damage range decreased was reduced from 25% to 20%, and the rate of fire increase was reduced by 1.7% as well, so it won't fire as fast there. For the rear grips, the assault rifles, and the Groza, the ADS speed increase was reduced by 2%, so it's not going to be as snappy anymore. Moving on to the operators, we're getting Hudson in season. We're getting Judge Dredd, I am the law, also in season, and that'll be coming with different skins for Beck, some weapon blueprints, a finishing move, all the basic store stuff there, nothing too crazy. We also have some other blueprints and different packs coming in season as well. Again, not really that exciting. Then we get the update sizes, 5 gigs for both PlayStation consoles, 5.9 for both Xbox consoles. For PC, 6.4 gigs or 7.6 gigs if you own Warzone and Modern Warfare. All around, though, I would say this is a pretty solid patch in general. It seems like we've got some good stuff coming in this update all around. I'm a fan. A lot of weapon tuning, so things are going to feel very different. We got what appears to be Dark Ether based off of that little screenshot there, which I am incredibly excited about. It's about time that this is becoming a thing, so that's awesome news. In general, really cool update in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below, but that's going to do it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, be sure to do so. That way you can always stay up to date with everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. And I will catch you guys later. Peace out.